Hi, I'm Amber and I'll be teaching you how to make the chocolate chip cookie dough cupcakes. The first part will be the cookie dough filling, and in this bowl I have a 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, an 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda, and an 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And you'll just whisk this together for a little bit. And then in a bigger mixing bowl you'll have a 1/2 stick of unsalted butter, a 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of white sugar, and 2 tablespoons of milk, and a teaspoon of vanilla. And then you'll just mix it together. Alright, now that this is mixed together, you're going to put the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. And you'll just mix them together until completely combined. You might have to scrape down the bowl, but it's completely combined, and once it's completely combined, you'll add a 1/2 cup of mini chocolate chip cookies. Yeah. And just mix until all they're combined. Okay, now that the chocolate chips are completely covered, you will take about 2 teaspoons and place it on a parchment paper, and yeah. Okay, I'll demonstrate a few and then we'll stop the video. Now that we have our last one done, we'll stick it into the freezer for about 30 minutes. Now this is focusing on the cupcake portion now that we already did the filling. We have 1 cup of all-purpose flour in here, a 1/2 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1 cup of white sugar, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then you'll just combine this in for a little while. Make sure everything's combined. And now, in this bowl, I have 3/4 cup of hot water, a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, 1 large egg, and 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Then I'll just combine this into there. Then you'll just mix till combined. Alright, you might have to scrape down the sides a little bit, but once it's completely combined, you'll get 12, and then you'll line them with cupcakes, liners. Then you'll just take, I normally scoop out 2 teaspoons, you just place it on the bottom. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, now that I got the cookie balls out of the freezer, we'll now place them into the batter, in the cupcakes. And now that that's done, you'll resume to add more batter to cover up the cookie dough. Okay, good. Now that this is done and all completely covered, you will now stick it into the oven for 20 to 25 minutes at 375 degrees. Now it's time for the frosting. So in here I have a stick and a half of salted butter, a cup and 1 3/4 cup of powdered sugar, and a 1/3 cup of packed brown sugar. And you'll mix this until it's smooth and creamy. Okay, now that the butter and sugars are nice and creamy, this is what it will look like. And then after that, you'll add a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, then 1 1/2 tablespoons of milk, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Then you'll mix it until it's all combined. Icing is done and the cupcakes are cooled, I will now put icing on them. You just put a little swirl on top. And then you'll just put a mini Chips Ahoy on top. And stick it right there. And then put some mini chocolate chips that you have left over. Put it on top and voila, they're all done. Okay, now that the cupcakes are completely cooled, we will now put icing on them. So I'll just take some icing and put it in the bag. Then take it out. And you'll just put a swirl on it. And then you'll just put a mini Chips Ahoy on it. Did I do it?
And this is Amber, exhausted from using her mixing arm after her PC class.
Baker's reward right here.